And this is it. After 2 full weekends of qualifiers, we have finally reached the last match, the last chance for our teams to get in here and bring you all the action here in the Ethereal Crown. Is myself, Ultrism, and for his second cast ever, apparently, Lixodian. Welcome, my friend. You are definitely winning the hat game today.
Yeah, I had to bring the hat game. Hat meta strong. Yeah, it's my second cast ever, and I'm so excited to be here. I mean, I played in the cup as well on the Ethereal Ducklings, and we are having fun over there. Except when you ban Lucio. That hurts.
You've taken that personally every time. I've even seen you
every time.
I love it. But the fact that you say that it's been fun has been such a good sign, because that's been a big part of the story of this Ethereal Crown, is the fact that we've had some dominant teams, some incredibly strong, long-standing teams that have come through and shown what experience has given them. And then on the other side, we've had all these teams coming in and perhaps playing in their first tournament ever. And I got to ask, in terms of beyond just the scores at the end of the day, I've noticed that a lot of the chat has been very wholesome.
Yeah, no, like we've had great bants in the chat. Even these upper, like the bigger teams, teams like IB and Pink Salamanders, who's playing tonight, are just memeing in chat. They don't take themselves too seriously, which it's nice to see.
Oh, I'm sure that seriousness is still to come, though, because, of course, at all of the end of this, the LAN at the 80K Arena in Cape Town up for grabs. That's what we're playing for here tonight, especially the qualifiers. 6 teams who are going to be going through to that. 4 of them already secured with 2 spots left. And then 10,000 Rand, the biggest prize pool in Overwatch South Africa in many a year. So excited to see what all that action starts to look like when we have finalized it. For the teams that don't make it this weekend, there is still another chance. 2 more spots up for grabs on the 7th of September when we do a double elimination bracket. But you guys have been here the whole weekend. I'm sure you know what it all is about. Instead, let's head into tonight's action. It is going to be Panda City, their Vanquish side really impressed me earlier. We'll get onto that in a second, versus the Pink Salamander. So we're going to start off with this Vanquish side here. And Lex, I must admit, this was a side that really did amazing things. Fable, I know putting out the Tracer there, but the hit scan abilities of Fable.
Ash earlier?
Fantastic. Yeah, on Ash, right? Right, yeah. And then Salmon, really, I gave my MVP to Salmon for their ability to make space, to really dictate where that line of scrimmage was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, they also came out on the ball for one map, and the chaos that ensued.
Yeah, I mean, that was fantastic. And then on the other side, I mean, everyone knows this name. You alluded to them earlier, so walk us through this Pink Salamanders roster.
Yeah, so Pink Salamanders, we have Trizzle, Nyan, Blur, Luke, and Tox as our starting 5. I actually got to play with Tox on a team for, I think it was the Ringmasters Rumble. We were on Teacher's Lounge. Great player, wholesome guy. Yeah, he comes out on the Mercy, but I've seen Tox do nasty things on a Lucio. Yeah, and then Blur, a really experienced tank player, knows his game very well. Trizzle, yeah, a disgusting hit scan player. I mean, that one clip, I don't know if anybody else has seen it, the Widow clip on Route 66 of Trizzle just hitting shots. Yeah, and then Nyan and Luke, I'm not too familiar with, but I've heard quite a lot about Nyan's Tracer. Yeah, oh, and they all got their cameras on. Look at them.
Trizzle letting the team down there. Oh, there finally comes the wave in. Is a little embarrassed. Hopefully he's a little bit on the ball with the shots here tonight when they're going to be relying on him. But I mean, look at those faces. They are all having the absolute best time of their life. And I mean, while they can't actually qualify through tonight, in terms of they are not guaranteed a spot, they have certainly put themselves mathematically in a great state. And tonight, a victory for them would put them one step closer and make it almost impossible for them to not go through there. So we'll have to see how that goes. As we always start, guys, we're going to be going through to Lijiang Tower as our control point map to go through, and then the rest of the maps to be decided by the losers of the previous round. We also are going to have some hero bans. And so, Lex, this is where I'm going to throw it across to you a little bit. A Tracer, a Kiriko and a Widow going out on Lijiang. Why?
Yeah, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit confused on the Widow ban. I don't know where you really would play the Widow on Li Jiang. Maybe in Control Center. I'm not too sure. But the Kiriko ban kind of makes sense because there's quite a rush meta on Li Jiang, and Kiri does make rush quite easy to play. So maybe we might see a Moira. Maybe we might see a Baptiste in the place of the Kiri. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the Widow ban. Don't know what to make of it.
The Widow almost feels like it's a respect ban versus Trizzle himself because of like the previous clips. But then you'd be thinking, we got to hold that in our back pocket, right?
Exactly.
That is something more scary on something like King's Row or something like that. So I'm very interested that Vanquish has pulled that out as early as they possibly have. Kiriko doesn't surprise me. Like you said, just one of the most popular characters, one of the most popular bans. And something else we didn't talk about, the ability of teams to do subs. Pink Salamanders has got a roster, man. In their back pocket, Metal Snow, Vertigo's Laden Trigger. Are you kidding me?
That is such a stacked bench. Like, yeah. How do you even rotate them in? Like, how do you say, oh yeah, you have to play now? Is it just like vibes? Is it map dependent? Like, what's the deal?
Slade, you mentioned, is an incredibly good Lucio. So if they ever do really want to run a Lucio, that could be something that they're pushing in. Although right now, they've got a Lucio on their team, taken up by the hands of Luke. A very rare Lifeweaver makes an appearance, as will Blur taking
Are they running it?
Why would you do that? Like, they're actually doing it. I love it.
They're actually running the Lifeweaver.
And the rest of this comp is ridiculous, man. I mean, obviously, something like Junkrat on an internal scene like Control Center is not unheard of. Vanquish going for a much more stable composition, though, and Loki going to have a lot of weight on their shoulders with the May Wars. But the teleport is the in.
It's the pace is really fast from Pink Salamanders here. They've already caught them out, and there's 2 picks down. I mean, the Junkrat spam, this Mauga that is just going to run them down. I mean, their Baptiste is down. I don't think this fight is much longer. It's going to last much longer.
That is incredible, actually.
That was so fast.
Synergy, right? That was a go call, and so rarely do we get to see the Symmetra used for the aggressive teleport into their opponent's side. You normally think of the Mauga runs in, and then other people try and adapt to it. It's a very selfish. But now comes our hard part. Vanquish going to keep on with that May, maybe just mitigate some of the damage coming through from the Junkrat. Right now, they got so much work to try to get through this very narrow choke points, and Salmon going to have to go through, but doesn't want to do it alone, and waiting maybe for that next bit of rotation on the shield. But I mean, now you've dropped your May wall, you haven't gotten any progress.
Yeah, I mean, the Salamanders have this Sim and Mauga and Lucio, and all of them have amazing repositioning abilities. And we already see Trizzle's Tire come out just to bait that Immortality field. They're backing up, but I don't think this is them giving up. I think this is them just kind of absorbing their push here. We have this the Sim wall, we have this Lifeweaver tree. Yeah, I mean, Fable on this Cass, poking them out. We've seen Fable do some crazy things. So that's window out and beat.
I mean, this is a lot of ultimates coming out right now. Pink Salamander's kind of just trying to hold the points, and they have lost possession of it, which means that anytime that Vanquish is able to drag this out is a good thing for them. Trading back and forth, losing Salmon is a big part, and Luke picks up the double kill, taking out Loki as well. So it took quite a few resources from Pink Salamanders. But they have managed to come back, and Vanquish started to rethink stuff. Ramatra just not the play can, instead going for the damage mitigation that the Sigma offers. Loki, again, with lots of work to do, and the biggest ultimate of their life going to be required right now.
I think also the Salamanders team, the longer you let them live, the more damage comes out. I mean, this Junkrat is just going to poke, and you leave a Junkrat to live, you're going to die. And the Sim gets charged up off these beams as well. So, I mean, these rotates have to be clean, they have to be fast, they have to get a pick early if they want to get this team down.
Oh, they're heading to the point. Vanquish, they had to do it eventually. 93%, and here comes the May.
Quite a big ult from May. Gets the Mauga. This is quite a huge pick from the Vanquish team. Trizzle's ult, though, gets Cersei. The supports are down. Is this really... Yeah, I don't think there's much more of this fight left.
Wow. Okay, I thought Vanquish looked really good at the beginning of that. I mean, it was a great way to cancel the Mauga and the Mauga ult. So Blur nearly getting caught out, but eventually it was just coming back in there. I mean, Trizzle's tire to start off is always going to turn some attention towards. It manages to find the most elusive character on the Moira, and then you go and you finish off as like you said, with that Junkrat, with both these DPSs still alive. You need to worry, and I think that's something that's really come to be a defining factor of these big teams. It seems like they've got 5 game carriers on their side on the field at any stage, and even if there's just one person left, you cannot count that person out as not being able to come back and turn the tides.
Yeah, definitely. The Pink Salamanders team, each of them, I think, have enough game knowledge to 1v5. Yeah, we now see this this dive style come out. I wonder if they stay on the sim or if they'll go over to Tracer.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me for these teams to swap off the sim straight away. Nian has done just that immediately into this, going much more for the dive composition. Trizzle and Nian going to be able to follow up on whatever Blur decides is target number 1. And then on the other side, still pretty mobile with Loki, but other than that, it's going to have to be Fable pulling out some clutch teleporters to be able to get the rest of this rather static team from point A to point B. And right now, choosing to take the back angle of the point, try to go in there close and certainly avoids a lot of the dive. And suddenly Blur in a dangerous position if he can't confirm any kills.
That's already 1 pick for Vanquish. They definitely can follow up if they can get to the supports here. Loki already poking out this Tracer, just kind of marking them. Big sleep from Luke. I mean, is that across the map? Yeah, it looks like it. So Panda City will take the first cap here. But they're trading blows here. The Life Weaver putting in the pressure from the off angle. Is Blur going to survive this?
Only Tox would actually try to go for the aggressive Life Weaver and make it work. But
Trizzle takes 3.
I mean, Trizzle, and then he still drops that at the end. Probably a little unnecessary with that duplicates when there's only the tank left alive. So I think he's going to be kicking himself, and now they don't really have any other ultimates. Luke on the verge of that nano boost, and Nian, I'm sure, going to be able to build in a pulse bomb before the next fight really kicks off. And on the other side, though, you've kind of given away that ultimate economy. Loki going to be on the verge of their duplicate very soon. Fable's got the wall. But it's just now, how do you get to the point? It's the teleporter through the window!
The classic TP through the window. The immortality field is already out. I mean, the ante was huge from Luke. And do they take this fight? Can Fable stay alive long enough with the sim to charge up the beam? It seems like already Luke has gotten 2, so those are both your supports down. How do you sustain this fight? Yeah, I mean, the sim wall comes out, but everybody's playing on the one side of the wall, so looks like they've just kind of played around that. And that's your tank down, so I think this is firmly in the hands of Pink Salamanders. The ball copy, maybe to stall out, maybe to keep the contest, I mean,
you don't have access to the point. You don't have control of the point, so stalling out's not going to help anyone at that stage. And Vanquish, while they got onto point very nicely and did manage to build up that wall, they just, like you said, the Pink Salamanders is keeping too much distance, being able to poke out. I mean, Luke, this is why in the immortal words of ML7, support, not healer. And instead, oh, great tree to block off the TP attempts. And it's just cost Pink Salamanders 1 of their 4 potential ultimates. And already they've got their kill onto Fable. Now's the time to rush in.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb out from Nyan. Not going to get anybody, but yeah, we have this insane distance play from the supports of Pink Salamanders, and, well, the Ram ult is being popped now. The Nano Life Weaver, hello? What are they doing? This might be a style play. The Ramatra ult gonna run out. Are they even gonna be able to contest this? It seems like they are having trouble on the Tracer. And, yeah, the Ram dupe comes out. It looks like this is a said and done deal.
Wow, I criticized Trizzle for dropping that dupe earlier, but he builds it up so quickly. The fact that he had it still in this fight was huge. And, I mean, Pink Salamanders really showing off why they are one of the teams to be feared. One of the teams really looking to put their mark as the best team in the country. Trizzle making the play of the game with style, the nice tire that started it all off to end off Control Center. And then A nice little bomb out in the background, finishing it off with just a couple of shots to the waiting players. I mean, that's great use of every part of the toolkit. And I mean, the team looking pretty happy. Blur smiling right there, despite being the first kill on the Gardens. Pink Salamanders. Vanquish, not far behind, though, let's be fair.
No, I think Vanquish maybe just string it together. They've got the right ideas. They're making the right rotates. They're engaging on the right people. It's just, I think it's a little bit of a skill check at times. I mean, the Pink Salamanders roster are actually 1v5ing at times. I mean, there was a point where it was just Trizzle left on the point, and there were 3 members of Vanquish, and Trizzle just takes out all 3. Like, what are you gonna do? How do you stop this man?
I'm going to officially say that he learned everything he knows from me. Yes, I was his coach at one stage. So, like, it's just a skill issue, guys. No, but it really is. And that comes back to that point I was saying earlier. It's just, you've got to... It's very difficult to target prioritize because you're going, who are we taking out? We take out the 2 supporters, then the DPS are going to get us. We take out the 2 DPS, then their tank is going to roll over us, supported by 2 healers. I mean, when you look at the numbers, it's actually not that different in terms of the total damage done. And you would say that with Vanquish being able to block more, then Pink Salamanders is eating more damage. So why are they just not dying?
Yeah, I just think it's maybe the survivability, those last bit of damage that needs to come in. Maybe like somebody's left on 1 HP and you just can't find them because maybe the movement is too good. Or you are scared to peek because they've got help. Or they just get healed up. I feel like, yeah, there are many times when you see maybe, for example, Trizzle, again, on low HP, and then he just leaves and comes back and kills 3.
Yeah, who needs damage blocked? I'm going to absorb it with my face. I've got 250 HP. I can use 240 of that. No problem whatsoever. We're going through now to map number 2, Hollywood, another favorite here. Not going to see the King's Row, thankfully. Not just yet.
Row.
But Hollywood offers a lot of long sightlines. And the thing that comes to me straight away is, you have already banned out the Widowmaker. Oh, no.
This is a little bit of a problem. I mean, we see lots of poke comps. We see lots of dive comps here. The Ashe, probably. The Widow. Maybe even a Soldier. But, yeah, I mean... Wait, these are some interesting bans. We have a Lucio band and we have a Winston band. So it looks like that Vanquish doesn't want to play dive. So we might see a lot of Sigma.
I know you're personally crying right now. We'll give you a moment to just deal with the loss of your precious Lucio. But certainly going then, okay, if you're going to take out the dive, we're going to take out the brawl. I mean, mitigating that entire mobility. And I think that Pink Salamanders, I mean, Blur has already rolled out on the ball going, okay, we'll just do a slightly different dive. Okay, we can do this. I mean, Blur plays a decent Doomfist as well. So, yeah, I think that Vanquish is trying to mitigate something because, let's be fair, control of the high ground here on Hollywood is such a big part. Taking away the dive is a viable strategy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, not that personally I'd be playing Lucio on Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, this is much more of a longer sightline, and there are so many rotates that you would have to then do to kind of avoid these long sightlines. So the Lucio ban, I don't think it hurts. I don't think it hurts Vanquish. They probably just play the Sigma here. Yeah, okay. Salmon runs out on the Sigma.
What a call, man. Well done. Nice. I like that. So Salmon has shown Sigma in the previous round, so we know they're pretty comfortable on this hero. The rest of it, Loki taking out the Hanzo is something that we have seen before as well to great effect. Fable back on that infamous Ashe right now, and then a lot of other damage being offered by the 2 supports of Cersei and Pokemoli. On the other side, Pink Salamanders, I said Blur was not afraid to take on the ball, and it seems to be that case. And going to be following up whatever Naya and the 2 of them going to try and look for any potent spots. Always interesting to see the dive on the defense. And then you've got Trizzle who can just put in damage from above. And I like the ability of Luke to flex to the Alari as well, because that kind of like adds for the pseudo Ashe or Soldier damage that you're missing when you go in with the chunky damage of the Pharah. So a really nice style. And their option, I think their entire game plan here, hold the choke. Give Blur the space to go in and out there and find whatever damage and maybe capitalize on any rockets that do land. But
Tox is dead already. so you've already lost your biggest source of healing in this fight. So even though this comp is really chaotic, we'll see how how Vanquish capitalize on that pick. I mean, Trizzle already going low, Luke on the high ground with that Ilari. I mean, nobody's contesting him just yet, but I mean, just walk on him and he'll probably die. He doesn't have his Ana with him. Trizzle taking some poke down main. Blur just trying to sow some chaos in the back line. Let's see if Fable can really bring out that that high. Oh, and well, Fable takes out Trizzle as I say that, but Luke comes up with 2. Blur takes out the Ashe. I mean, this is what I mean when I say like you can't count them out. They'll just come back. They'll take the damage, leave, come back, and just kill 2.
That's insane. A moment of grief there for Tox and Sox, who only just got back to the point and then died immediately afterwards. But I mean, Luke has just been sublime, and that's one way to deal with a Luke.
With a huge pick. I mean, if you can take out the Pharah now, I mean, this fight is, yeah, it should be firmly in the hands of Vanquish, except when Blur does that. So huge minds from Blur, kind of stopping the choke. Neon goes down. But will Salmon be able to survive through that minefield there? It's a 1v1 on the point. Now the rest of Pink Salamander's coming back. Trizzle takes out Pokemoli. Do you reset here, or do you keep scrapping? Because they're trading up and down. That's a missed flux from Salmon. But the supports look like they're struggling on Pink Salamanders here. The aggression from Vanquish is actually doing something now.
This I gotta say, this Vanquish side has been great at showing aggression and dictating the point. And I talked about it being pacing and distance, but right now, it's huge. Trizzle tries for the very optimistic barrage, and I mean, still Vanquish holding enough people around. They got Bob on the point at least, and they will be able to pick up the payload. So a great way, and it came down to that kind of wave after wave, this unrelenting pressure that they were able to put on. I mean, Pink Salamanders, I thought when they had lost Luke at the beginning of that last fight that they were pretty much done already. And yet they just kind of always trading and trading and trading and trading to the point where they nearly were able to bring it back. So first hold was good. The second hold just delayed the inevitable, it seemed. And now we head to the streets phase with Pink Salamanders having 3.5 minutes is a decent amount of time to worry about it, especially when you're going to lose Blur early.
Oh yeah, Blur is down already. We now have Trizzle on Ashe though, so let's see if Trizzle can take it to Fable, who's like really been kind of making a name for himself on this Ashe. Yeah, Trizzle is down already because Salmon just kind of takes them out, and they're retreating here.
Good high ground presence being shown from Vanquish, really understanding this map very well. It is, of course, their map pick, so it's good to see them having some strategy. And Pulse Bomb comes out,
huge eats from Salmon! But the ult from the Ilari comes in, and the Hanzo is down. You're losing most of your members, and that's just easy pickings for Pink Salamanders. They made that very quick.
Man, there was so much hype around that eat there. I thought that could have been like a big moment for Vanquish. And then, of course, Captive Sun just collected to the right place by none other than Luke. Luke's been doing sublimely on the supports. Now, Pink Salamanders, they've got a single ultimate to worry about, or at least to handle from their side. It was quite an expensive fight. Vanquish have 3 in the back pocket, and I think the big one going to be that Gravitic Flux if they can start.
Yeah, I mean, this Gravitic Flux can really change the tide of the game. I mean, Trizzle is already down from that, and yeah, Loki getting that pick is really opening up, because now you've lost quite a lot of damage. Your consistent damage is out of the fight. And Blur, once again with the mines, gets 2, and Tox. I mean, yeah, it starts out so well for Vanquish, and then Pink Salamanders just gets a hero play like that, and then what do you do?
I mean, it wasn't even the mines. The mines was like the finishing blow. It was Blur coming across the bridge and knocking everyone from Vanquish onto the ground. That's not where you want your Zenyatta to be. It's right in the middle of your team, your opponent's team. And so, great play from Blur to be.
Oh, but Loki gets a massive long distance pick on Trizzle there.
Always options for Vanquish. They can go with this.
They just need to be very careful of Nyan, who's kind of lurking here in the back line, kind of looking. And Loki is down to Nyan. The Blur gets Fable as well. That's your DPS down. How do you really keep your supports alive here? That's Transcendence out. Looks like they really want to fight this. We see Cersei going down there. That's the majority of your damage out. Your Zen is down. I think you just try again. They do have window this fight though.
It's just sad that they used Transcendence to try and like bring it back, and then there was no chance of that, and so you've dropped one of the most powerful support ultimates that can be used to counter things out. But right now they've got to worry, do Vanquish. They've got basically a single fight left, and it's got to be quite a quick one as well. No time to really set up on the high ground. It's 30 seconds. You've got to keep making your progress. The stall attempt from Blur comes out in the back line, and Vanquish, they've lost Fable.
Oh, they've lost Fable, which is yeah, one of their really big damage dealers here. The Pink Salamander's coming in with both support ults, so this could really sow some chaos.
Oh.
Massive ultimate from Luke, and it's just the Sigma left. Unfortunately, I don't think there's much he can do.
I mean, look at the synergy that comes out there, though. Tox puts the nano boost onto Trizzle in the air, who's on the verge of copy to be able to finish things off. Luke comes from completely the other angle, throws in the Captive Sun. I mean, what are you supposed to do? As someone like Salmon with Sigma, we know is great at damage mitigating, but typically from only one or two angles. You throw up the shield, or you try with the suck to mitigate what Trizzle's doing, and then suddenly you get smacked from the back line, and I mean, that damage is just going to coalesce on top of it. So, yeah. Vanquish, they managed to get first point halfway through second. Don't know if that's enough, though, Liggs.
I also don't know if that's enough. I mean, Pink Salamanders, they're playing very split but together. Nyan is sowing chaos in the bottom. Tox is doing his healing from range. Luke has got the Illari putting in the damage. I mean, those ultimates coming out from nowhere. Trizzle and Blur are just all over the show. Where does Vanquish look?
You don't. you just handle it at this stage. So, I mean, when I say that, your other option is to split yourself. But I don't know if you really want to be trying to take one-on-one duels versus Nyan or Blur or Trizzle. You know, these are people who I think could come out the better in most one-on-one or 1v2 situations. So, I mean, at least if they're dragging the attention away. So that seems to be what Vanquish is going for. Again, still sitting on that Sigma. Now at least you do have the choke in your favor, right? The one place you know you need to look is through the big archway. And Pink Salamanders, they don't change anything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We're going to keep diving on you.
This is quite an interesting comp from Vanquish as well with the Moira and the Kiri. I mean, you've got the Sigma. What are we planning with this Moira Kiri? Maybe Kiri for Ana. We have Fable poking out over the roof there, but Nyan is already in your backline. Your supports need to be quivering. We see Blur kind of going in, starting the engage, and Moira is down immediately. Yeah, I think if Loki goes down here, which he does, I think this is the point for Pink Salamanders.
I mean, you talk about the interesting team composition, especially those supports. I think the idea behind them was that those were supposed to be slightly more survivable. That didn't work. Not even a little bit. Not when you've got, I mean, again, the synergy. It just comes down to understanding your game plan and going at the same time. Nyan took a long route around to get to the back line, and then as soon as Blur slams, as the Moira's popped up in the air, it's just a shooting threat range at that stage for Nyan and doing so much work. And I mean, look how much damage you're getting on an Echo as a Tracer. Oh.
Yeah, almost takes down Fable there. You cannot let Nyan just do his thing. Trizzle taking out Loki is already another bit of consistent damage going out there. The Kiriko dying there as well. No more Suzu. And your Moira is down. Those are your supports that are just gone. I mean, what else are you meant to do in this fight? Diva's still left over, but I think it's a reset call. Maybe try and take one more stable fight because we're nearing the last point of the last few meters of the point.
Salmon does have the Diva, so that gives you a good opportunity to try and grab that pulse bomb if you can. But right now it's about touching. You've got to get on the payload a meter 24 away, and now it becomes a ball to the death with Pink Salamanders already starting to take their early kills. I mean, that's pretty
yeah, 3 picks already. I mean, Salmon demeched. I don't think they get to... Oh no! Were they staggering the Diva a little bit? Were they playing with their food? Was that what I was seeing?
Mean. What you saw was mean. I think that's the easiest way to sum it up. But yeah, that was Pink Salamanders looking as good as they are expected to look. I would say as the top team, one of the top teams in the country. And I mean, it really was everyone managing to do this. This wasn't even the one that we were calling so much attention to, and yet Luke was phenomenal. Every single person on Pink Salamanders did their job, and they did it at the same time.
Yes, that I think is maybe the most important thing of the two teams, is that Pink Salamanders seem to be doing everything together. Vanquish maybe having a little bit of delay in between some of their calls.
Still very interesting calls, though. Some good calls. You talked about the rotations earlier. Stuff like the Sim TP onto point of Li Zhang is a great strategy, and it can be executed really well. You put pressure on your opponents. You kind of force them into where you are, waiting with the Sim wall. The mentality is really good from Vanquish. And, I mean, we got to see it earlier when I casted them. When they are left to their own devices and able to execute these plays that they're trying so hard, they look phenomenal. They happened to be going up against a team that was flexing really well against that aggression when it came in. And even still, with Vanquish, while they were trying to come up with a game plan, Pink Salamanders allowed them no time and was very preemptive.
Yeah. A team like Salamanders bend and don't break.
Yeah.
They absorb that damage and they just throw it back, as we can see. I mean, in this, they have so much damage done.
The most interesting stat there, 0 damage blocked. Pink Salamanders says, we don't need a defense. We're just going to smack you harder. And you know what? If it works, I'm here for it. That's the strategy that I'm going with. 0 damage blocked. Take note, all you tank players.
Yeah, I mean that's because of the ball. Because the ball doesn't have a shield. So there's what damage are you blocking? The ball just goes in, gets a kill with his Tracer or his Pharah, and then goes out, and then drops mines, and then kills 2 for some reason with mines. Yeah,
I can hear the disbelief in your voice, man.
I'm struggling to wrap my head around it. Because, yeah, like, mines, typically you would think, oh, yeah, mines drops, we just walk around it, we give it space, we wait it out, or maybe clear the mines or something. But Blur is just so... This team doesn't give you any space to breathe. They keep pushing you and keep pushing you and keep pushing you, and then physically push you into those mines, for example.
I mean, now what is the question for Vanquish, though? I mean, I know I'm the color caster here, but I'm not seeing that much opportunity for what they could possibly bring into it. As we go to our third map, it is going to be Runasapi. A little bit of a push here is what's going to be required from this Vanquish side. And in terms of the bans, we already have the Alari out there. Panda City does not want to deal with Luke one more time there. They had no answer to the ultimates, and right now it's going to be a case of stabilize, try and figure out who's causing the damage in each fight. Obviously, keep track of all the ultimates. But otherwise, any thoughts and wisdom there, Lix?
Well, Pink Salamanders banned the Malga. That's a shout out to my boy Something Cat on my team. Because, yeah, he plays the Malga on this map. And the Illari ban for me is a little bit strange. Because on this map, especially push maps, it's a lot of rush. It's a lot of, Lucio, so I don't think you would see the Illari really, unless maybe Pink Salamanders runs out on the ball again. But yeah, typically you would play rush on Runasapi. So I don't think the Illari is what they need to worry about. I think it's that Lucio coming out. Maybe they sub in Slade here, the Salamanders, because yeah, like you would want a Lucio here who's competent.
You've got to have a Lucio that's competent right now. And we did talk about Pink Salamanders having such a big substitutes roster back there with Slade, the epitome of Lucio. I mean, he even is featured in our little intro video there for the Lucio play. But no swaps coming out. Instead, we head straight into Runasapi with a dominant-looking Pink Salamander squad. And certainly Vanquish... we are being baited into this. All right.
Overwatch South Africa with a pause. We love it.
Yeah. We were so close to getting through the whole thing without it.
GMEC moment. Okay. We have Llama on the screen, and now it's us again. We're back. Did you miss us?
We just had to give you one last taste of Lix's hat. I mean, we needed to see that one more time. So big shout out to the hat game, and very disappointed in Pink Salamanders for not running any hats.
Not
I mean,
a
come on,
singular hat. Just, it's disappointing, you know. Sometimes you expect these great things from these big teams, and then they disappoint you in the last moment. And how do you recover from that? As Pink Salamanders, how do you recover from not having a hat?
I want Vanquish to win now. This needs to be a reverse sweep from this moment onwards.
Get out the brooms. It's a reverse sweep time.
And we didn't even get to see what the lineups were going to be looking like. That. So you talk about the Alari being different. You talk about the rush compositions. For Vanquish, what on paper would be the best composition?
I think you play a rush. I think you play maybe like Queen, Lucio Kiri, Cassidy, Venture even, Tracer even. Just get your team to work together, focus down a target, don't get distracted, because they probably will play the ball, and the ball is going to try and disrupt. And then if you can get through that disruption and focus down at least one target. I mean, this team is not going to give you time to think about it, so you just kind of have to go. And I think rush comp is the best way to just kind of hope and pray you get into their backline.
Now, how much of a problem do you think the ball is being from Blur in that you would actually hard counter it? I mean, hard counter is a very loose term in Overwatch. Please don't come after me. Don't at me. But something like a Sombra, something like a Reaper even. Hell, you talk about the rush comp. Reaper offers you that opportunity, but it also has the Hellfire shotguns that you can turn around and really threaten a ball who's just hanging around for a couple of seconds too long there. Is it something that Vanquish needs to think about?
Think with someone like Blur, whose mechanics are really good and his movement is really good, he's probably getting out. So if you expend resources to try and kill this ball that's really disrupting your backline, and then just gets out, you've wasted resources. The team can now collapse onto you. What do you do? So I think the best play here is try to ignore Blur and get to the rest of their team. Because, yeah, I mean, Blur is probably just going to live.
Blur's just gonna live. Isn't that the name of the game right now? The whole story behind it. But I mean, yeah, you've got to try something out. And I mean, your other option, whenever I think about a dive comp, your two options is stop the guys coming in, or get yourself into their back line. I mean, start putting pressure on there. Get your own monkey, get your own wrecking ball, someone that you feel confident on. I haven't seen Summon running a lot of the very mobile characters. It's always been more of the Brawly, Ramatras, Sigmas, stuff like that. So I don't know if he's got that in the back pocket, but I mean, that's an option. What worries me about that, and why I say it's not exactly the most viable strategy, is we have seen how good these supports are on the side of Pink Salamanders. How much do you really want to be going and trying to take out someone like Luke or Tox? I mean, sleep darts have been on point tonight from Tox. Luke, I think, is going to put damage into you just as quickly as you're putting damage into him. So that was a very theoretical suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is in theory. You still have to get past that skill check barrier. The Pink Salamanders team, they are stacked. They have the mechanics. They have the game knowledge. They have the synergy. The supports are going to peel for each other if you try and dive. So I think maybe just try and overload them. You know, the dive wants to work in cores. You have your backline core and you have your like diving core. So if you can overload at least one of these cores, typically the backline core. But yeah, if you kind of overload one of them and they just don't have enough resources, then maybe you can actually do something. But it's tough. It's really tough.
I mean, this is where Vanquish has shown so much innovation already, where they've kind of chosen characters that potentially have a little bit more of a sustained power. You've got someone like the Moira who can try and avoid the dive, but when it's coming through like that, you have to be so aware of your time to death that as soon as the ball slams, you should be trying to fade out of that. And I mean, in that respect, Pink Salamanders has also had an answer preemptively for that. They've been doing very well at getting key cooldowns out and then being able to carry on their aggression afterwards. So like poking, prodding, you slab down, you force an immortality field, for example, you roll out, wait for that field to go down, and that's when you hard engage on the second run. So it becomes a very delicate balancing game between panicking and pressing all the buttons and staying alive, but then having nothing left, or not pressing them and dying because you didn't react in time, or throwing too little at the fight. So, I mean, lots to ask about here. But if you guys are wondering why we're here and why we're doing all this theory crafting when there's already a 2-0 victory, or 2-0 lead for Pink Salamanders, there was a crash on the server. Finally, something outside of our hands, not something Peach has done wrong. He has been fantastic the whole weekend.
Excellent prod. Shout out, Peach.
We always have to shout out the producers. And a big shout out has to go. I don't think I've done this the whole weekend. ZA Overwatch. The fact that these guys have been putting in so much work. I know Smiley's sitting in the chat there, and big props to her and the rest of her team for being able to put together a tournament like this with an actual LAN and a big prize pool. You guys don't realize how much work goes into the background. So big hearts to everyone involved in the production of this.
Yeah, no, really good job there. I do want to bring it back to what you were talking about on those supports. For me, if you're gonna go and try and stop what they're doing, and not think about what you can do while stopping what they're doing, I don't know how you're planning to win. Because if you're just going to be countering them and you're on the back foot the whole time and you're just kind of like trying to protect yourself, and you can't throw any punches back, how do you expect to get a punch to land? That Moira obviously, is good for survivability, but what do they bring to the comp?
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
No, you're 100% right. It's at the end of the day, you got to play what you are comfortable with, what your strategy is, and know what your game plan is. Because something like Moira, again, is suffering from that same drawback. Has limited resources. Once you've used your fade and you've drained your entire meter and you've thrown out your heal orb, you're not just kind of sitting there. So, I mean, you've got to throw these punches back. And, I mean, you've had Fable, who's been doing a great job on that Ashe. Maybe get just like a Brig or something around there that does at least mitigate the damage that a Wrecking Ball or a Tracer can do in the background, and kind of like have a bodyguard system and then boop them away. But now you're going, okay, are we really splitting our entire team apart into the backline, frontline, and then who's going to be taking the frontline? Because Wrecking Ball has the option of just going back and joining the rest of the team, can extend so far, threaten and force people to group up in the backline, and then just win the 5v3 on the frontline.
Yeah, I think maybe if you have a more stable backline core, so maybe like a Brigana, that can just sit with the Ashe and help enable the Ashe, because Fable is a great player. Fable is hitting those shots, and they are, they're a force to be reckoned with if they get any space. But the Salamander's core is just smothering the Vanquish team, and it's tough to give Fable that space that they can pop off. And I mean, Loki as well is putting in consistent damage, is getting those picks. I mean, we saw Loki get the first pick many times on that last map. So it's not like anybody on their team is slouching. It's just that the Salamanders team, they're on them. The boot is on the neck, and there is no letting go.
Well, guys, we have broken down basically every one of these situations for you guys. Please put in the comments your own chat about what do you think could happen. We are still struggling to get players into the lobby, so we're going to go to a very quick technical pause right now while we set it all up, and then we can bring you the action here as Pink Salamanders looking to take their third and final map. Or will Vanquish be able to turn the things around and get that broom out? We'll find out just after this. Us being back has to be a good thing, right? I mean, we have Overwatch ready to go for you guys. We are going back just to update you on the scores. Pink Salamanders up by 2. Vanquish trying valiantly, but unfortunately living up to their name and being vanquished the whole way through, despite their best attempts. And Elix, certainly lots that we have talked about going into this, but I mean, we're going to have to break this down right now. I think the big thing for you now, aside from team comps, aside from the Overwatch, what do you tell a team as a coach who's sitting in this position?
You gotta take it as it is. I mean, you knew going into this game, Pink Salamanders is a really strong team, and you need to take the small victories. The small victories being, you know, you are fighting, you're showing signs of life, your team isn't just crumbling under the pressure, you're actually trying to adapt, you're trying to change. And from there, I think maybe just, you know, hit the range, practice some rotations, you know, don't get discouraged. Definitely don't get discouraged.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. As we go back in, we go to the llama.
Vanquish's comp.
No, before we talk about comps, who cares about that? The most important thing, the meta. We did see Pink Salamanders having their attempts at hats. Some really cute ones. I love the Mimikyu one. But big shout out goes to, I think that was Luke on the end, who's buckled in for glory with a belt around his head. But now we can go through to your comps there, Lex.
I think I called the Vanquish comp, the Venture, Tracer, Queen, Kiri, Lucio. But the Pink Salamanders with the Winston here. So yeah, it looks like Pink Salamanders are really comfortable on this dive. It's now just how Vanquish are going to absorb this.
Not well. Oh, that's how you can do it. No, Blur! He somehow gets back after we broke off the edge. As course, that Vanquish is thirsty and finally found the pick. They do take down Blur into the middle of that fight, but the damage already done, and Pink Salamanders surround, they conquer. Drizzle in a precarious situation takes the skies, still going to get taken down for a good shot of Salmon, but Nyan causing trouble constantly on this Tracer. Zips in, zips out, and lost his big monkey to be the really big brute force fight, but Pink Salamanders still haven't cleaned off the rest of this fight. They have taken control of the bot, so that's going to start moving. A good first fight from them, but really on tenterhooks.
Yeah, so Pink Salamanders with this dive, right? If Vanquish want to do something, they're going to have to do it together. If the monkey dives and you want to kill the monkey, you're going to have to do it as 5, or this monkey isn't dying. The supports of Pink Salamanders are far too good to just let him die. And we're straight back into the slobber knocker with Loki going down.
I mean, that combination of the rocket over the top, the Tracer to follow it up, the Blur just causing havoc on anyone standing around, and it just keeps going. Trizzle decides to take a fight on the inside, and that's not where Farah's supposed to be, unfortunately. So a bit of a counter coming out from Vanquish, but they just don't have the manpower to really put on any more of a challenge. And it's up to Vanquish to try once more, and instead go for a very big change to their composition themselves.
Massive switch up. It looks like they're gonna try and just dive this. But now you gotta know that Pink Salamanders, they aren't gonna take their foot off the gas. So huge stick from Nyan takes out the Ana, and I mean this fight is almost already over.
Yeah, basically, right? I love being a play-by-play caster when this happens, because there's just nothing to play-by-play. It was the patience from Nyan to get that stick there, and I mean Blur was already causing problems there and dragging the attention away. So 66 meters up on the board, basically got that nice checkpoint, and Vanquish, they're going to have to come back in, but against quite a lot of ults as well that they've got to worry about.
Abel could maybe... Oh, Trizzle is down.
That is big, so not that ultimate to worry about instead, and now the nano boost up onto Blur. Blur losing too much HP, even though he's got a raging monkey form. Of course, it was the battle of the chair, apparently, getting involved in this little tussle on the side. Yeah, unfortunately, though, the chair seems to be on the side of Pink Salamanders, as they've just got too many people to worry about. Toxin Socks even joins the fight and picks up 2 kills of their own, and this is what a peeling Lucio looks like.
Yeah, this Pink Salamanders team doesn't look like they plan to stop anytime soon. The Vanquish is really struggling to get this this train of power and pain to stop. The Pink Salamanders are on the gas, and they're going faster than a bullet train right now. I mean, Trizzle down.
Bit of a trade gets taken out, but again, it's just trading 2 for 1 right now, and Luke getting involved once more. I mean, put any weapon in this guy's hands, and it's going to be just a dangerous support from the back lines to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, what do Vanquish do here? They would have to up the ante, but the ante is already so high. How do you up it more? I mean, Pink Salamanders have set the bar so incredibly high, and they're kind of just absorbing this dive.
And a great drop back by them right now. Vanquish had managed to come together as a squad, really extended hard, and Pink Salamanders was split up at that stage, but they flexed for only a second. Now it's the time to go back in. They've got the Lucio sound barrier to maintain their dominant performance and keep everyone nice and healthy. And the go call comes forward. Pink Salamanders once more running over everyone else. Luke eventually goes down to Fable, but Fable, the last one to drop. At least Tracer will get back into the fight faster than the Ana.
Did I see a little bit of tactical crouching from Blur? Was he doing his squats, putting his work in?
Don't know what you're seeing, friend.
a little bit of a workout. Gotta get those exercises in. But yeah, I mean, Trizzle is kind of the big damage coming out here, but the real problem, I think, is Blur. Blur is kind of cutting off most of the team, getting in there. And, yeah. We already get into this fight. Blur antied. But Loki goes down. Huge stake from Fable, actually.
And this is great flexing. Vanquish is actually looking to be strong in this fight. They've popped themselves a rally. Have to worry about a double pulse bomb kill. And with that, the fight, she is over.
Rest in peace, this fight. May she live another day. Yeah, it's just Salmon here. The Primal is an interesting one. Maybe to stall the cart. Yep. Yeah, but Nyan is down. Looks like Vanquish may have an opening here if they could actually get to the team. But once again, Pink Salamanders, they bend. They don't break. They just go back, recuperate, strengthen up, and then strike again, like a whip.
Like a whip?
They're like bamboo.
Well, time for Vanquish to get cracking, shall we say, as they jump in, and Loki drops to tiny amounts of HP, gets confirmed out by Trizzle at the end there, and both DPSs fall straight away afterwards, and get Trizzle a triple with those shots onto the supports. Once more, it's Salmon, the last surviving relic of the Vanquish squad, as they buried underground. Pink Salamanders still with over 100 meters on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, give Trizzle a nano. Man is going to do nasty things with it. That nano just came at the start of the fight, and then the fight was over the moment you saw Trizzle light up blue. Like, what do you do there? What is the thing you do against Trizzle, who is this really good player, and then you power him up like that? Do you contest? Is there any contest?
I mean, Loki goes on to the Cassidy, which is actually a really good answer towards it, and takes the close range engagement, does find Trizzle out on that, but it's once more Blur, the big problem, and unfortunately, Pokemoli, who followed Loki into that small room, was not there to support her. Oh, great fight. Salmon actually once more. Now, can they get any sort of progress? Luke on the retreat on the Ana on the back line, and finally, Vanquish, can they get it back down to the slowest ground, though?
The question is, can they do it again? Loki getting that pick on Trizzle was maybe, it was maybe like a surprise factor, but can he consistently put pressure on this Pharah, who is such a problem? I mean, the Ana down, and the Brig down, your supports are down, what do you do?
Yeah, you're losing the war of attrition at this stage. It really doesn't matter what other picks you're going to get, and Salmon just once more, no! Oh. Okay, you deserve that, Trizzle. You did deserve that, friend.
That is karma. But yeah, then Salmon valiantly trying, but Nyan is just gonna finish that off. Yeah, I mean, we haven't even been looking at ult economy, because an ult comes out and the fight's over. But Pink Salamanders, they have this beat here, and Vanquish, they have the nano. Do we see a Nano Monkey, Electric Cowboy maybe, to get rid of Trizzle, who is now on Echo, another annoying flyer? Yeah, what do you think we see?
I mean, Salmon has been doing a lot in the background, but it has been the jump from Blur that's been the big problem that we've talked about. And so it might just be to counter that out as Loki goes down a low in the left-hand side and Blur able to confirm that eventually into this. Now comes the nano opportunities if you're going to go for it. Probably thinking, wait through the speed, but you got to survive long enough. And Cersei doesn't manage to do that once more. The two supports, the early casualties, and a little bit of a zap there to finish things off. Even the stick on the monkey this time. Salmon not going to be able to stay alive for longer. And this is what you were saying. Vanquish, they've been able to win a couple of fights, but just not consistently enough.
Yeah, if they could string together maybe 2-3 fight wins, then this looks really competitive. But, I mean, yeah, Pink Salamanders, they're just... It's like they're playing 4D chess. They're one step ahead. They know what's coming. And it's final fight here if Salamanders actually win this with the ults that have come out. And Salmon is down. That's your biggest like sponge of damage just gone. And the rally as well. That's just unfortunate.
Oh, really just a crumbling at the back there for Vanquish. A desperate attempt to try to hold on. They threw the nano-boosted monkey in, but there was no supports. No one else was left alive. And then when the monkey goes down, the supports try and come out. Desperate attempt now on the wrecking ball from Salmon. Spinning to winning in the most literal sense. The nice dead eye to try and come out in the beginning. Claims Tox's life. But Cersei going down means that the survivability here for Vanquish is just something that they need to worry about. Trizzle very comfortable on the Cassidy themselves as we see the pull of the Lifeweaver who's stuck on points, and the counter high noon from Trizzle there claims up a couple more. His stats must be fantastic, but the only stats that matter, Pink Salamanders take map number 3 in a row and secure themselves our final match of the qualifiers here in the Ethereal Crown.
Yeah, I mean, Pink Salamanders, they are a supercar, like a sports vehicle, going at insane pace, working at just everything works. Everything just works, and it's good synergy. It's good mechanics. It's good. Yeah, it's just good. It's good vibes. Neon seems to be hiding behind their monitor.
We can still see the hats. That's what's important.
But we like the hats. We like the hats. I like Tox's Mimikyu hat because it is very close to my Umbreon hat. It's got the same vibes.
It's got the same vibes. The same expression as well. So, I mean, a great way to end off for the weekend.
That would come up you off guard.
No, listen. I'm suddenly very jealous about all possible toothless hats, so I just made my own at this stage.
You know what? Props for the DIY hat. You may have won this battle.
But all seriousness, we're going to keep a straight face. We are professionals here on the stream. So, Pink Salamanders, great team, absolutely fantastic team. Even Toothless agrees with me right now. But this is what we are expecting, and it's kind of really refreshing to see this because we talked about the story of these two levels of teams here in South Africa. We have been seeing really just dominant teams for a lot of tournaments now. This is one of the first times we've seen it. It's kind of like watching the Olympics where you make the 100-meter dash include a regular person and you see what these guys are doing. It does remind us about what the top echelon of South African Overwatch looks like. And I mean, we have some world-class players here. So this was a good sign for that, but Vanquish still were a narrower gap than I think a lot of what the newer teams look like. And I'm still very excited. I believe that Vanquish should still be there at the LAN.
Oh, for sure. Because, I mean, you have your teams that are, like, the upper echelon. But I think there are still, I don't really want to say mid-table teams, but because these teams are so good, they make the rest of the teams look mid-table, you know? So we have teams like that. I think Vanquish is at the upper echelon of these middle-table teams. Yeah, they show promise. Yeah. And we look at these we look at these stats here. It's very, very even.
Yeah.
It's just where that damage went and where the damage blocked went and where the healing went that makes the difference.
Yeah, I mean, the confirmation of kills. We saw it a couple of times there where Vanquish were close to winning fights. They got everyone low. Pink Salamanders seem to have basically no wasted damage. Their rockets were not just being fed into the tank. They were going into the backline, which was then confirmed by a Tracer or by Blur jumping in on the Monkey. I mean, we're just talking about Runasapi as the example, but it really was just we are doing exact assassinations on the key targets. And I mean, that's a huge part of their victory right now. So, Vanquish just need to stay alive somehow, right? That's it. That's all you got to do.
Stay alive so you can do more damage. I mean, if you're dead, you can't do damage. If you're dead, you can't heal. If you're dead, you can't contest the point. So if you can stay alive, survive them, and then throw your own punches back, maybe it looks different, you know? Because, I mean, yeah, that damage is not wasted. Pink Salamanders, it's almost like they have a script, and they follow that script, and they've trained that script. It's like they're putting on a show. And this show has lines. We've learned our lines. We're saying these lines, and the team just falls. You know, yeah.
Well, that does bring us to the end of our first qualifiers. Remember, there is a second chance for 2 more teams on the 7th of September to be able to clinch their victory through there. There was posted in our chat earlier. Sorry, give me half a second. There's admin, and Peach has been talking to us a lot, but there was posted there we go. Inglourious Blasters, or Inglourious Femboys, whatever you are personally going towards.
Inglourious Femboys.
Crimson has managed to get through. 5 Nights at LAN has managed to live up to their name and secure themselves a spot. And then Anomaly as well from the Rage Quit squad has managed to punch their tickets. Now with the Pink Salamanders putting on a fantastic showing here tonight, nearly all but certain have secured themselves an ability to get through to that LAN, still that last spot. So you guys are going to have to just wait for the social announcements of who is going to be joining us. But then we go 2 more teams for that double elimination bracket coming up on the 7th of September. And then at the end of October, we get to see all of this again, the real fight for the 10,000 Rand taking place at the 80K Arena. And Lex, we're hoping to see you there, my friend. What do you think? Final thoughts? What are your final thoughts of the tournament, of the competition, the level of competition that you're going to be going up against? And I don't know if you really want to stretch as far as putting a potential victor, top 2, top 3 for something like that.
Yeah, so I think for my team at least, as the Ducklings, we are aiming to at least be there. That is definitely going to be a big goal. I mean, we as a team started not too long ago playing together. I at least came in, me and Something Cat, we came in from Pride Cup and Ringmasters Rumble, and then we just kind of started playing with this team. So hopefully the level of competition is at a level that we can somewhat manage, you know, that we can kind of look competitive. We don't want to get whitewashed, absolutely. We don't want to get like clapped in front of so many people. But also, before I forget, we should do MVPs.
Ooh.
We should do MVPs.
Okay, I know who mine is. I know who mine is. So no.
I was gonna say Toothless, and then Toothless did that. So unfortunately, Toothless is throwing, and I think Umbreon is the MVP. But on the side of Pink Salamanders, right? Who do you really look at? Like Trizzle is doing so much, right? Trizzle has the flashy plays, but then you go to their backline. Tox being on the main support, you know, being a main support player myself, I know that a lot of the things that main supports do fly under the radar. And I really, really want to shout out Tox for just, you know, the peel is there, the support is there, the rotation is there, everything is there. And the fact that we don't hear so much about Tox means he's doing a good job. And yeah, Luke also disgusting Alari player. Really good on that Ana as well, just putting in consistent damage. And yeah, Blur as well with the good separation, the good drawing the aggro. I don't know who to give it to here. I want to say Blur. I want to say my MVP is Blur.
I think Blur was the biggest threat at any stage, to be fair. Like, he just did so much. Like you said, being able to jump in to create space on the Winston, on the ball, to drag everything. It's so good. That's the epitome of what they're supposed to do. You know, Trizzle, like you talked about it, and let's give some credit to Nyan with the follow-up on the Tracer as well. All of them were doing their job. And I think everyone in the Pink Salamander squad did their job. And that's why my disagreement is I think that Blur probably did his job the best in terms of that aspect. But the one person who did more than their job was the Luke. It's got to be, right? I mean, you're not just there as a support to heal, right? That was really just showing I can show my proficiency and light up the scoreboard as well. So my personal one was Luke, but I would also be happy to give it to Blur just because
I think I can
really
agree on Luke.
Yeah,
I definitely can. I always love
we do
showing
a joint
support love.
Luke and Blur. I mean, just although Luke let himself down with the hat, man, that just so tough. You guys in the
see,
chat.
Blur was wearing a beanie, so can we call that a
let's go Luke.
hat?
Let's go Luke.
I think we're going Luke.
Yeah.
I always love showing supports love. I mean, supports don't get to get MVP that much, because most of the time you have to do your job, which is to heal and make sure the team stays alive and make sure the team can get into positions and make use of your utility. So with Luke being able to do more than that and overperform almost, I think Luke deserves it.
But well played to both of the squads right now. Panda City, you guys are really a team that I'm excited to see in the future. And so like Lick said the whole time, and to Panda City and the rest of the other teams that had a tough couple of weekends now and went up against some very tough oppositions, regardless of your score lines, regardless of your results at the end of the day, keep going. I think it's incredibly important to maintain that positive attitude. You are here to learn. You're here against guys who have been putting in countless hours more than you. You got to start somewhere. And I think this was a great showing from every one of our new teams. So please, this scene is so welcoming towards you. Jump into the 6-mans, jump into the Saturday Night Pugs hosted by Kauser, and really just get to know the people here, because everyone was so happy to get to watch this for the weekend. So I hope you guys in Twitch chat enjoyed it as much as we did. Big shout out once more to the production. Peach has been tireless the whole weekend. Lix, fantastic casting, my friend. What a champ here for just your second attempt. Guys, show some love there. And for myself, Ultrasm, we are going to now have to round it off, and we'll see you again on the 7th of September, where we head through to that double elimination bracket. We have to close off the Ethereal crown for tonight, though. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Cheerio.